we have two types of measurement models, reflective and formative measurement models. In this slide, I have compared reflective and formative measurement models for a construct named satisfaction. Let's say customer satisfaction, tourist satisfaction with a hotel, right? So a tourist visited a hotel and now we want to measure his or her satisfaction. So the first one is a reflective measurement model and the second one is a formative measurement model. So both of them are measuring customer satisfaction, but two different measurement models. So what is the difference between them? The first thing you may have noticed is the single-headed arrows. For reflective measurement model, it goes from the construct to the items. Means the construct explains the items. Means if you are satisfied, then you will appreciate this hotel. If you are satisfied, you will looking forward to staying in this hotel. If you are satisfied, you will recommend this hotel to others. So these are three questions that you may measure them on a Likert scale of 1 to 5, right? 1 means strongly dissatisfied, 5 means strongly satisfied. So from very dissatisfied to very satisfied, you have measured these three questions, right? On a scale of 1 to 5. Now, if you are very satisfied, you may give let's say 4 or 5 to the first question, 4 or 5 to the second and the third questions, right? This is what happens. This means if you are satisfied, you will appreciate it, you will recommend it to others and so on, right? So the direction goes from the construct to the items, right? To understand this better, we cannot say because you appreciate this hotel, you are satisfied with it. No, because you are satisfied, you appreciate this hotel. Or we cannot say I will recommend this hotel to others because I will recommend this hotel to others, I'm satisfied with it. No, you are satisfied with this hotel, then you will recommend this hotel to others. So the arrows, they go from the construct to the items, means satisfaction is explaining or predicting these three items, right? However, for the formative constructs, as you can see, the single-headed arrows, they go from the items or questions to the constructs. Read the questions. All personnel are friendly. Means if the personnel are friendly, you will be satisfied. If rooms are clean, you will be satisfied. If the location of hotel is good, you will be satisfied. We cannot say that if you are satisfied, the rooms are clean. No. If I'm satisfied, as a result, the location is good. No. It's the other side. It's the opposite. The location is good. As a result, I'm satisfied. You see, so the main difference is the first difference is the direction of the arrows, right? And here we can see these three items, they are like dimensions. They are different aspects of customer satisfaction. They are totally different, right? So when we put them together, we form a construct named it satisfaction. So it's formative construct, right? Formative measurement model. So these items, they form the construct. Now, another difference is, which is related to the first difference, is when you are satisfied, as I said, you may give 4 or 5 to each of these items for reflective measurement model, right? It means if you appreciate this hotel, it means giving 4 or 5 score to the first question. Most probably you will looking forward to staying in this hotel and most probably you will recommend this hotel to others. Means if I give high score to the first one, I should give high score to the second and third one, right? But here for formative constructs, the personnel may be friendly, but maybe the location of the hotel is not good. So you may give 4 or 5 score to the first item or the first question, but you may give 1 out of 5 to the third question. So we don't expect expect to your respondents' answer to the 3 questions to be very similar. They may be totally different. But for reflective constructs, we expect high correlation between the responses to these questions. So for reflective construct, there should be consistent, right? So the responses should be similar. So if the first respondent, let's say Alex, If Alex is satisfied, he will give 4 or 5 to all of these questions. If he is not satisfied, he may give 1 or 2 to each item, right? But here, you may be happy about the personnel, but the rooms are not clean. Or maybe the rooms are clean, but the location is not good, right? So you may give 5 to this item, 1 to this item, or maybe 3 to this item, right? The score you give. So this means that for reflective construct, we expect consistency between the items. And this means reliability, right? So for reflective constructs, we can talk about reliability. But for formative constructs, no. So for reflective, because for formative, we don't expect high correlation or similarity between the responses, right? So this is the reason that we cannot use Cronbach alpha, which is used to measure internal consistency between the items, for formative constructs. This is the reason in some papers or some studies, they use Cronbach alpha for such a construct, which is formative, and the Cronbach alpha value is very low, right? It doesn't mean the measurement is bad. It may mean it's a formative construct, and you are using Cronbach alpha to measure its reliability. But there is reliability cannot be used in this context, right? So this is one of the big differences between reflective and formative constructs. So when you want to develop or specify your model, you need to pay attention to these constructs, to the measurement model. Many constructs or measurement model or instruments that have been developed years ago, 20, 30 years ago, they may not have considered these measurement models. So when you read the questions, you don't know whether it's reflective, formative, right? So make sure that you are using a good instrument that have been developed in the way that you can identify whether it's reflective or formative, right? There are some methods that you can use to identify whether it's reflective or formative, but it's not in the scope of this course. The reason is because this course, as I mentioned, is about covariance-based structure acquisition modeling, or CBSEM. So all constructs that we can include in the model are reflective measurement models, right? So when you are, let's say, specifying your model, means making decision about the instruments you want to use. If you want to use CBSEM, make sure all constructs that you have here, all constructs that you have in your model are reflective measurement model, not formative measurement model, right? Otherwise, you will face some issues. So again, I go back to this slide. So I would say when you have formative constructs, use PLS-SEM. In other cases, I personally prefer to use CBSEM. So this is the main difference between reflective and formative measurement models. And yeah, so here I just want to highlight something, share something with you. So these boxes or items, they are observed variables, means we are measuring them directly. How? We are asking a question. So it's one question we are asking, which is, I appreciate this hotel. Then the respondents will give a score of 1 to 5 to indicate their satisfaction with the hotel. So these items are observed variables, right? Because we use one question to measure them. And these are latent variables or constructs. So why I'm discussing this? Because there is a standard way of showing the variables. For latent constructs or latent variables, we use a round shape, a circle or oval shape, right? So all those, if you want to draw a model, when you so they are not randomly, right? So when you have a latent construct or latent variable, use a round shape, a circle or oval. And if they are items or observed variables, means things that you can measure them with one question, or there is one instrument, one measure to measure it, then use a box, right? So a box or a square, for example, can be used to measure, to show we have an observed variable. And here you can see we have 3 observed variables and 1 latent variable. And this latent variable or construct is measured using these 3 items. And then for reflective measurement model, what you get here is called factor loading. So factor loading shows the relationship between the construct and the items, right? So when you have reflective measurement model, you refer to factor loadings, means you refer to, so it's like a regression analysis. You have an independent variable and 3 dependent variables here. So these just show the factor load. These show the regression coefficients, or here in this context, we name them factor loading. So stronger factor loading means this item is more related to satisfaction. And for formative measurement models, the names we give to these values are different. We name them factor weight, right? So for formative measurement model, it's like a multiple regression analysis with 3 independent variable and 1 dependent variable. It's something like that, right? So for formative measurement model, we name these 3 as factor weight, right? And these are like regression coefficients that show the relationship between these 3 items and customer satisfaction. So anyway, yeah. In this course, as I mentioned, we focus on a reflective measurement model. So factor loadings are important things that we will discuss later.